So, what is being nice all about, and why isn't it enough? Well, nice, you know me, I love the English language, so I went straight to the dictionary to look up exactly what this means. Nice is defined as pleasing, agreeable, and delightful, whereas kind, which is what I'm going to talk about, is defined as having, showing, or proceeding from benevolence. You see, the antidote to being nice is to be kind. And I don't know whether you've ever noticed this, but we're big Disney fans, Disney and Pixar. And the underlying message of most Disney films is about being kind. Think of Cinderella, for instance. We watched I love the Kenneth Branagh version, where Helena Bonham Carter is this mad fairy godmother. She's absolutely brilliant. And I can't remember, Lily Allen plays Cinderella. Absolutely. It's just beautiful. And she talks about how her mother encouraged her to have courage and be kind, even when faced with this stepmother and these two perfectly dreadful stepsisters of hers who turn her into a slave. And you have to read that book or watch the movie and think to yourself, I wouldn't put up with that. I mean, I'm a red personality. I would just rebel immediately. I would say, who do you think you're talking to? But I'm learning about the difference between being nice and being kind. And this webinar today has come out of these discussions. I've just signed up with a new mentor who is just putting all this into perspective. And it's made me think, you know, Kim, it's about time you stopped just being nice. And that's when I think about it, and be kind, because Cinderella goes on to say this is what her mother says to her: have courage and be kind. For where there is kindness, there is goodness. And where there is goodness, there is magic. And I love magic. And magic is the indefinable. It's when you can't think of a word to describe what happens. It's that moment when you are kind and the magic happens, and you just can't describe what it feels like, or you can't describe the result, because sometimes the result is tangible in that you might earn more money, you might get more bookings, you might get a great testimonial for your business. But there's also that feeling that you get. I think we in a nice way, especially being English, we say, well, it's a sense of fulfillment, isn't it? Oh, God, I mean, sometimes we British are so blue, aren't we? We're so ordered and structured and nice. It is a very British characteristic. And we've been talking about it, and I'd like to go further, go the extra mile and be kind. And then I began to think about how can we take what Cinderella's gorgeous little mum said before she shuffled off this mortal coil. How can we, when faced with a horrible stepmother and two sisters who turn us into a slave, who expect us to sweep the floor and live with the rats, how can we turn that around and be not just nice through gritted teeth, but how can we be kind, and how can we turn that into a business asset? Yes, a business asset. I I was trying to explain this to Neil, that the antidote to being nice is being kind. And then I came across, because I always research, as you know, I came across a film called The Antidote. I've never seen it, but it's a film about everyday people who make the intentional choice to lift others up, despite the fundamentally unkind ways of our society. And I thought straight away, that is just what Cinderella does, despite the unkindness of her stepmother and stepsisters. She makes an intentional choice to lift others up. She's joyful, she loves, she's gentle, and she's kind. And what does she get? She gets her just reward. She gets Prince Charming. Well, depends if you think that's a reward, but she certainly does. Because she's so kind, then her goodness comes through and she gets the rewards. It's marvelous story. Just watch Disney with this different perspective, this view of what they're trying to teach you. They're all morality tales. They're all saying that the more kind you are, the more good you are, the more you do for other people, the more you put yourself out there, the bigger the rewards. They might not always be financial, or more clients, or more of something tangible, but you will get those rewards. And it's all about, if you can find this via Google, then The Antidote says it's all about how we treat each other. It's about who we are and who we can be. That's what they wrote. And as soon as I saw that, I knew I had to talk to you about it, because this is my purpose in life, to help women in particular, those who want to. I'm still trying to think about my target market for this. So my ideal client is women who've got a brain, who want to do more with their lives, who look around and think, is this it? It can't be. There has to be more. My job is to help those women at a crossroads look at all the options and become who they were always meant to be. And kindness is absolutely part of that. Years ago, I was in a mentoring program, and I was in this program for 2 years. And in the second year, I always call her little Uta. She was a German lady married to an Englishman, and her name was Uta. And there were 2 ladies called Uta in the group. So I called her little Uta. She's lovely. And this was way back in 2011, 10 years ago, nearly. And she told us she was a happiness coach. And we all went, what's that? She was way ahead of her time. Now, there are kindness coaches, there are Facebook groups, there are programs devoted to helping people become kinder. And it's to change the mood of the planet, the consciousness of the planet, the consciousness of the human beings on this planet. And that moment when we heard about being a happiness coach was the beginning, I think, for me, when I started to think, what on earth does that mean? I have to find out. So what I'm trying to do today is encourage you to think about how you can use kindness in your business, but also let it permeate your life, and let it, as I'm always blethering on, let it ripple out and affect everybody else. So Trudy says, same theme in Kung Fu Panda. Yes, I've only seen the first one, Trudy, I think. Is it Jack Black that is Kung Fu Panda? It's the typical hero story, isn't it? He's the downtrodden panda, and he has to go on a hero's journey, and that's what we all relate to. That's why we love Disney stories. It's all about going on this journey. So this isn't about being nice. This is going that step further. So as I said, I have to find out. So I've come up with, I've borrowed this. So you're out in the freezing cold. This happens a lot in Britain, especially, well, when there's no lockdown, and you're out in the middle of town on a Thursday night, which is hen night, and you see all these people, freezing cold, it's middle of winter, and they're walking around without a coat on. And you think, because I do, what a moron. Who do you think you're trying to impress? Put a coat on, yeah, for goodness sakes. That's pure grumpiness, to which I have dedicated most of my life. That has to change. That's why I'm doing this. It has to change. It is no more for me. So that's grumpiness, because you think, you'll catch your death of cold, you idiot. That's being grumpy. Now, if I turn that into being nice, it would be saying something very banal like, I'm so sorry that you're cold. And I could not do that with a straight face because I'm British and we use sarcasm. What's kindness then? Kindness is just handing them your coat or your jumper. Because kindness is addressing the need regardless of what you think about their behavior. I have a massive learning here. Massive. This is going to change me irrevocably. Now, you can be kind without being nice, and you can be nice without being kind. So being nice is when you're polite to people and you treat people well. But being kind is when you care about people and show that you care. Are you doing that with your clients? Are you doing that with your family and friends? Think about Cinderella. Have courage and be kind. And I think the two go together. Beautifully put. To be kind, I have got to really be brave to do that, because it goes against everything I've done on the planet so far. So you see, you're in a supermarket car park and you see a mum, and she's got 3 kids running around and she's trying to get her groceries into the boot of the car. Instead of saying, well, being nice would be saying, you're doing a great job. Being kind would be loading the groceries for her. So if your friend is sick, you can sigh sympathetically and say, I do hope you get better soon. That is so nice. Being kind is taking round a bowl of soup. It's putting the niceness into action. That's how I thought of it. Now, I don't know whether you're a literary person or not, but I am. I love words. I love books. I love the classics. One of my favourite children's stories is The Water Babies by Charles Kingsley. And this was about a little chimney sweep called Tom. And he falls into a river and he turns into a water baby. And Charles Kingsley had a moral to tell. That was the point of Charles Kingsley writing books, not Charles Dickens, Charles Kingsley. And in this book, I've never, ever forgotten these 2 characters. There's Mrs. Be done by as you did, and there's Mrs. Do as you would be done by. And I have always, always quoted Mrs. Do as you would be done by. So Mrs. Be done by as you did means if you treat people well, I'll quote it from here. When you do as you would be done by, it's the ethic of reciprocity, which means, and this has been advocated since Socrates' time, this is called the golden rule. It's a basis for practical morality, and it's advocated by most of the world's major religions. It's treat people in the way that you would want to be treated, because then they'll treat you in the same way. So both characters tell you that. Do as you would be done by. So choose first how you would like to be treated, then treat people in that kind way. Or if you don't, you will be treated as you have treated others. So how are you treating your clients right now? If you use the golden rule, what you have to bear in mind is, and Cinderella understood this, if you treat people, if you decide to be kind, if you decide to treat people well, and you go out and do that, there is a risk. There is a risk that you may not get that same gorgeous, fabulous experience in return, because those people out there have a choice of how they treat you. It's called reciprocal altruism. But that is the essence of kindness. The essence of kindness is that you treat people well with kindness regardless. You don't consider the consequences and you don't care how they've behaved. You do it because you've made the choice to be kind. It's not looking for a return or a favor. Excuse me. We do the good deed regardless of what others think and regardless of what they will or won't do in return. It's about, in my terms, it's about getting up off your butt and doing something kind, not just thinking about it. How does that play out for me? Let me explain. Excuse me. I'm not known for my customer service abilities. That's why I had Linda. I seriously cannot believe some of the daft questions we get, some of the daft behavior that goes on. I really can't. And I don't have the patience to deal with it. Now, there are some obviously Linda isn't here all the time. So sometimes I have to reply to emails or inquiries that I think, for goodness sakes, just click on the link. Or just go and have a look. Oh dear. So what Neil's taught me to do, because he is a blue and he's very in the now and he's very kind, extremely kind. That is his natural way of being. Whereas mine is to question the integrity of the person who's asking me to do something that I just think, oh, for goodness sakes. All right. So he's taught me to reply to what I consider to be an extremely stupid question, but make sure I put his name in the send this email to. So just in case I get a bit overexcited and write a reply straight from the heart and click send, it will go to Neil. And he will just think, stupid woman. You see, at that stage, because that's my training, that's how I have allowed myself to develop for all the 100 years I've been on the planet. My initial response to daft question, what I perceive to be a daft question, is, oh, and I just write, what would you like me to do? Wipe your ear end? Because I'm really not strong on patience. And then So my response at that stage isn't even nice. It's just to the point. It's definitely not kind. So I type it and then I just leave it. And then I walk away and then I calm down. And I have to remind myself that we're all different. We're all at different stages. And maybe Flossie, who's just written that email, maybe she got out of bed and stubbed her toe and she just wasn't thinking straight. There may be stuff that's going on in her life that's making her lash out at me or behave like a toddler. Now, I don't normally think about that, but I'm having to. And so what I realized through this experience was that I need to get a different perspective. Which brings me to one of my favorite Pixar movies, Ratatouille. I don't know, have you seen it? What does Federica say? Being kind because it's our soul's essence. Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, I like that. Yes, it is, isn't it? It's who we really are. We are designed to be kind. I've just developed in a different way. But it's never too late. I'm going to learn. I am learning. So in the Pixar movie Ratatouille, there's this fabulous character. He's the restaurant critic, Anton Ego. And he's played by Peter O'Toole, who is, he's no longer with us. He was a very beautifully spoken actor. And I just love the way he deals with this. He goes into, they get a new cook at this restaurant. And Anton Ego goes into the restaurant and says, he's a restaurant critic. I'm going to have a meal and then I'm going to write about it. So the waiter comes out and says, do you know what you'd like this evening, sir? And Anton Ego says, yes. After reading a lot of overheated puffery about your new cook, do you know what I'm craving? A little perspective. That's it. I'd like some fresh, clear, well-seasoned perspective. Could you suggest a good wine to go with that? And it's marvelous because this is what we all need. I do. I'm putting it to you. Perhaps I'm suggesting a little perspective. Watch the movie. It's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So, as I said, I need to remember that everybody's different, but I need to add this perspective, a different perspective to what I was originally feeling, which is, oh, for goodness sake, just click the damn link. Isn't it obvious? That's what I think. But I need a perspective on who I'm dealing with. And then when I have more perspective, when I understand a bit more about the person I'm actually replying to, instead of judging them immediately, I can write a measured, kinder response. This is how I see my transition to being kind happening, because I don't really feel that I can go from being irritated to being kind in one fell swoop. I've had to think this through and decide I need to transition. You see, our job as consultants, perhaps you might like to write this down. I say it all the time, known for saying this. Our job as consultants is to allow our clients to consult us. Right? It's not our job to sit them in front of the mirror, pull their hair back, take all their makeup off, make them look at a version of themselves which frightens them to death. Why do they wear makeup? Why do they do their hair? To make themselves look better, and you're pulling their hair back and taking them. I mean, it's just gross. and then drape them to within an inch of their lives purely because it makes you look good, slap a wallet into the hand and then shove them out of the door, never to be seen again. I mean, for God's sake, that is what image consultants have been doing for the last 40 odd years. This is not kind. It's not even nice. It's hideous. Absolutely ruddy awful. And it needs to stop right now. So I am putting a marker down and saying, I've always said this, we have to put the client first. That is my mantra, stuff the system, put the client first. But I realize now it's more than that. It's not just put the client first, but it's actually be kind. Do it in a way that makes her feel like a princess or a queen. And there's a big difference. Don't ever treat me like a princess. I am a queen. And seriously, you need to understand this. I may laugh and joke about it, but there is a huge difference. So when you allow your client to consult you, you allow her to take part in the whole experience of whatever it is that your experience offers. It could be to discover some great colours. It could be to discover how to put a wardrobe, capsule wardrobe together. It could be to become a better version of herself. I don't know. I don't know what you do. I'm not going to make any assumptions whatsoever because nobody comes to you for colour analysis. No, no, no. Nobody is coming to you for a colour analysis. That's just your methodology. What they're coming to you for is the result of that colour analysis. And it's usually more confidence. That's what you're selling. So if you're out there promoting yourself, come and find out your best colours, which is what the world and his mother does, and how boring and banal is that? Why? Tell your clients why. Be kind. Give them a reason to find out why they need to know their best colours. And then when you allow them to take an active part in, and I'm going to go through what I mean by this, that takes the pressure off you to perform like a seal in a circus ring, poncing about with drapes and God knows what else in an effort to look like an expert. She hasn't come to you to have her flipping colours done anyway. Takes the pressure off you to be that expert because it's a consultation. It's a two-way conversation. It allows her to get involved and to direct the advice and guidance that you're going to give her to make it pertinent and bespoke for her. It allows for the free movement of ideas between two different people. She's got an issue or a problem, and you probably have the solution, or at least you have some good advice. But sticking her in a chair and draping her to within an inch of her life is not going to solve the problem because you haven't blooming asked what the problem is in the first place. And then the long-term benefit, apart from the client actually getting an answer to her problem, a solution maybe to her problem, is that you have treated this lady with kindness, courtesy, respect. And what that does, and it's not always good, but this can create a long-term relationship because clients like that will love you so much for treating them like a human being with feelings and emotions, and they will never let you go. I'm forever telling you about all the clients that I've got from the early 80s who still contact me to this day, 40 years later. Because I actually realize now I was kind to them because I included them. Because to me, it's the only way to treat people. Remember the water babies? I read that when I was, I don't know, had it read to me and then read it myself. Mrs. Do as you would be done by was implanted in my brain. You treat people the way you would like to be treated yourself. This is why I stuff the system and put the client first. Absolutely, every time. So how can you be kinder to your clients? I've got a few ideas here that you might want to think about. First of all, listen to them. And you know how you do that? You start by asking them, how can I help you today? So you don't stick them in a chair and drape them madly because you assume that they're there for a colour analysis. How dare you assume anything? Some of my clients, I've never even got a drape out because that wasn't why they were there. They were there because they needed somebody to talk to. They identified that I was the person they needed to talk to. And I can do the colours and the style and everything else in the back of my head. That's what my training teaches you. You don't need to use drapes. It's easy peasy to do a colour analysis without a drape in sight. You just don't need them. Yes, it's lovely, as my second image mentor said. Of course you use drapes, Kim, he said. It's theatre, darling, theatre, because that makes it fun for the client. Absolutely use the drapes. Make it a fun session, but you don't need to do it as a good consultant. You don't need to get those drapes out. So when those clients have come to me where it's become very clear from that first question, how can I help you today? And they start telling me all their life story. And the issue they actually need help with is confidence. And absolutely, a colour analysis, a style analysis, a wardrobe weed out, whatever, they can all help with confidence. But this small number of ladies over the years who've come to me, I haven't gone anywhere near the drapes because that's not what they needed. They needed somebody to listen to them. They came to consult me. Colour analysis is just one of the tools I pick out of my toolbox. Are you listening to your clients? Can I really, really, really get down on my knees and beg you? Please listen to your clients. And how do you do that? You start by asking them, how can I help you today? And then write it down. Because we all get a bit carried away. So I write it down on just a blank piece of paper and say, okay, so 15 minutes before we have to finish, I'm going to look at this piece of paper again. And you and I are going to agree that we've answered this question. What can I help you with today? Because that is the purpose of that first session. And then as I was preambling about, remember Anton Ego, the restaurant critic from that fabulous Pixar movie, Ratatouille. Allow for a potentially different perspective. This is when you've asked this question, how can I help you today? Don't believe a word they say. Most people find it very difficult to explain what they want because we've lost the ability through the breakdown of the nuclear family, particularly. We've lost not just the ability, but the opportunity to get into a group of people we trust and love who have our best interests at heart. And that's not always your so-called friends. I'm talking about family here. And to ask for advice. We've lost that experience. And people will come out with all sorts of rubbish. What I'm saying to you is, don't listen literally to what they say. Think around it. Don't take people at their word. Don't just assume that when they reply, well, I've just come to have my colours done, that is really what they're there for. No, it isn't. Nobody comes to have their colours done. They've chosen you because they recognise at a gut level that you are the person who can help them with their issue. Delve deeper. Look for the different perspective. We're consultants. We're not, I don't know what you think an image consultant is, but if you think it's just somebody who drapes somebody, gives them a wallet and sends them on the way, that's not what I believe at all. And then these next two are linked together. You need to take into account who they are being right now and help them see who they could really become. That is, I think, the essence of what we do. We take somebody from here and we help them get there. Now, that may not happen today. It may happen in baby steps. Some people will tell you that they've jumped from there to there, and then they'll have a fallout because it's not sustainable. They will need you to support them through that journey, because that's the journey that they've come to you to help them start. So the two things are linked. Where are they right now? And where would they rather be? And what you're going to do is be ultra kind, because instead of being nice and saying, oh, yes, well, I wish you well with that. That's what nice is. You're actually going to help them get there. Now, let me be clear here. You don't have to do that for them or with them. I'm not asking you to go on that journey with them, because that's not required. That depends on you, your personality, your purpose in life. So if I can just give you, I'll use myself as an example. I am not a nurturer. I do not, I was explaining this to somebody the other day. I learned this a long time ago from a lovely, he's sort of an, I suppose you'd call him an Irish American, really lovely, gentle coach. And he said, do you do this? Do you put your arm around your client and walk the walk with them? And he said, you don't have to do that. We're not all the same types of consultants, coaches, trainers, whatever you want to call us. And that is not me. I do not put my arm around you and walk the walk with you. I'm a mentor, which is I see your potential. Sometimes it's so obvious to me, I think, why can't you see that? It is so obvious. That's my gift. I can see your potential. I can see what you should be doing. It's blooming obvious. I'm a signposter. My job is to point out what is clearly obvious to me and probably others that you can't see for yourself, help you look at the options and help you make decisions about that. But my job isn't to walk that journey. So years ago, I was having a conversation with a lovely lady whose job was, she's no longer with us, unfortunately, but she this was her job, to actually walk the walk. And for her, when she took a client on, sometimes it got really dirty and grubby and wading through the. And her name was Jilly. And she said to me, again, something I've never forgotten. She said, Kim, stop trying to be me. She said, I am a fish cleaner, which means that when she's got a client in front of her, she treats it like a fish almost, treats this person like a fish and scales it and takes the bones out and gets rid of the gubbins and rebuilds that person. She said, I'm a fish cleaner. She said, your job, Kim, is to bring me the fish. You see the difference? You don't have to be a coach or a mentor. You have to understand who you are and what your part is in this journey for your client. Now, I have to have a methodology in place to do that. And for both finding out where my client is and where she wants to be, I use color psychology, style, personality. Once I know my client's color, physical coloring, her color psychology, and her style personality, I've virtually got everything I need. I use other modalities as well to help me because I'm fascinated by personality. But you could do this yourself with just those three: physical coloring, color psychology, and style personality. And then you've got everything you need. Then you know where your client is and where you're taking her. And then you need to understand what your role is in that. So as you're going through this process of finding out where she is, where she'd rather be, it's amazing what happens, because then you find out what they really, really, really want as those posh, what is it? No, those Spice Girls say. Isn't it? What you really, really want. Now, if you don't have a way of working all this out, if you don't use color psychology, style personality, etc., or you could use, I don't know, NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. You could use MBTI, that's Myers-Briggs type indicator, or Kiersey, or anything. You could use Carl. They're all based on Carl Jung's work. It's all explained in my fabulous color psychology course. If you don't have all those, or you don't want to use them, then you're going to have to ask them, right? Just ask them. It's hardly rocket science, is it? It's, okay, so describe where you are, describe where you'd rather be. What do you really want at the end of this? What is the end game? What's the goal here? What are you looking to achieve? What do you want to change? You're going to have to ask some specific questions. What I find is the way I work with color psychology and style personality, they answer questionnaires, and it's much more, it makes it safer. Rather than me being almost a psychiatrist, because I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not a trained psychologist. But I come in at this nice, gentle level. Let's have some fun. Let's do the color psychology quiz and see where you are. And then we talk about that. That's one session. Then let's do your style personality. Whoa, wow, let's put those two together. And suddenly you've got a whole different ball game. Oh, so that suggests you'd like to do this. Tell me about that. Can you see how this is not just being nice? This is actually doing something. Instead of saying, oh, I wish you well with that. Off you go. This is you allowing your client to consult you. It's being kind in a massive way. because, and I need to qualify this, you must remember, and this is the problem I've had all my life. Let's be real, Kim. Let's be honest, all my life. What I'm having to learn is that to be truly kind, I have to be detached from the outcome. Because sometimes, especially with my personal mentoring clients, those, say, who've got the ultimate, called the ultimate image training program, there's a choice now, but you can go for personal, private, bespoke mentoring with me. And I know from long experience that I can see exactly what somebody should be doing. I tell them, I help them put their business plan together. I help them with their copy. I help them with their content. I help them with their marketing. And then they go and do something completely different. And I sit and think, what I'm having to learn, that to be truly kind, I still do this without, as we said, what did we say before? We do the good deed regardless of what others think and regardless of what they will or won't do. Because it's not about me, is it? If they don't want to take my advice, that's their prerogative. That is what being a consultant is all about. It's not about being a dictator and telling people. It's about being kind and saying, this is my best advice. This is what I really think, based on my experience, based on your personality, what you've told me you really, really want. This is how I suggest that you go about it. But if they choose not to do that, I still am kind. I still must be kind, still give the best advice I can, even if it's for a different output, a different end game. That's what I'm having to learn. I do that, but I might go away and wish Flossie would do what we talked about, because she'd be so much happier, she'd be earning more money, etc., etc. But maybe for Flossie, now is not the time. That's when I need the perspective that this isn't about me, the image consultant, the trainer, the mentor, whatever. This is about Flossie at every juncture. So I tell people up front when they come to me, especially if they're after personal mentoring, because I take people on now and again for personal mentoring from all sorts of businesses, all sorts of walks of life, nothing to do with image consulting. And we have an initial conversation. And then I am always kind, I can see now, because I say to some people, I'm really not the person you should be working with. Really and truly. You need an expert in whatever it is to help you. You see, if you take somebody on because you need the money, and then you find you can't help them do what you agreed on the phone or on a Zoom call, that's being very unkind to you and your client, because you are setting both of you up for grief, anger, disappointment, being let down. And that's the opposite of that feeling I was talking about earlier, where it's that magical feeling of, oh, fandabidosi, this feels so, it's your zone of genius moment. Well, there's the opposite. There's the opposite where you think, oh, God, if only I'd had the courage of my convictions and said no. before we even started work together. And it's back to Cinderella. Have courage and be kind. We're not required to say yes to everybody. What we're required to do, what I believe we should consider doing, is being honest. Having the courage to be honest, turning clients away when you know, I can feel it in my gut now. I'm learning really to trust my intuition. Sometimes you just think, not a cat in hell's chance. It's like our aspiring image consultants free Facebook group. When we get a request for people to join, sometimes I think, no way, and I decline. Sometimes I think, not sure, and I approve them, and then we get the twonks in there. Who somebody the other day posted an advert to sell. It was either an ironing board or an ironing service. I mean, we've had somebody trying to sell blankets. We've had other people, obviously, trying to sell their own training courses when the group rules are quite clear. There's just no promotions. And it's those moments where I think, I should have trusted my intuition. I mean, I don't faff about. True red, I just delete and block, get rid of them. I haven't the time. That is disrespectful. And disrespectful is not even being nice, is it? Nowhere near being kind. Now, I'm being kind to myself because if I actually started engaging in conversation with these people, I'd probably get sued. So I don't go there. I just delete and block. That's the kindest way to deal with that. And I'm in there protecting people like you from that idiocy. That's my job as the group, as the Facebook group owner. That's my job, to make it a safe place for you to enjoy, to ask your questions. We can't have twonks in there behaving disrespectfully because they're not being kind. And as my second business mentor said, how you do anything is how you do everything. So if you can't help someone, could you work with other experts out there and refer these people on? You don't have to deal with everybody. You don't need 7.7 billion people on the planet to book with you. Frankly, you just couldn't handle it time-wise, all right? Let's be real here. So could you refer these people on to someone else? Of course you can. Could be a life coach or a beauty therapist or a hairdresser's, or to find them a source of, I don't know, skincare or makeup, or you can set up reciprocal business deals with other experts. And you know what that does? It adds to your expert status, because that is being really kind to the client. You're being honest. You're being kind to yourself because you won't have to put up with grief. But you're also being kind to another business owner because you're introducing business for her as well. Okay, another way is to follow up. And I've always talked about following up with clients. And in our high performing image consultants Facebook group, which is only for people who've trained with me, it's for the professional level trainers. This lady posted, I'm learning the value of keeping in touch with my clients. Just by emailing them back, I've already had requests for other services. This is what I mean. You follow up. You don't ask for a sale. You just email them. You just find out how they're doing. Do they have any questions? And then they start asking you. I've done a collage for a client as she's a visual learner. She wanted to understand what colours to look for while shopping. She's got a good grasp of her colours. It made her happy, which made me so happy. Do you see? Kindness, goodness brings you that happiness feeling. I must get in touch with little Uta and see what she's doing with her happiness coaching. A week later, I wrote to a client asking how things were going with her colours. She said that she'd seen the collage on my Facebook, loved it, asked if I could make one for her. Another client wrote back, said she wants to figure out how to find loungewear in her colours, if I could help her with that. Yet another client, after writing to her, said she'd been thinking about having her husband's colours done. And this lady finishes by saying, people do respond when we show them personal interest. This is being kind, just following up. Are you doing that with your clients? Get to it. It works. It's always worked. Always worked. And I really recommend that you create easy ways for them to work with you. So if you offer an offline business, that's where they come to you personally. Let's forget all this lockdown stuff for the moment. We'll talk about practicalities. If you offer an opportunity for them to work with you face to face, tell them on your website, your Facebook postings, your marketing, your Facebook profile, your LinkedIn profile, your whatever else social media you do. Tell them where the flipping heck you are. People have to know up front whether a visit to you is in travelling distance. So, posting your mobile number is about as much use as a chocolate teapot. Tells nobody anything. And if you want your clients to come to your studio in Hamilton, be sure to tell them whether you are based in New Zealand or in Scotland. It makes a blooming difference. Dear, you take this for granted. Perspective. Look at this from your client's point of view. What do they need to know to be able to make a decision about whether to work with you or not? Now, if you work with them online, you offer online color analysis, whatever, you have to tell them how that works. So, for instance, my program, Color Your Client Online, no, it's not called that. Color Your Client Fabulous Online will always ensure that you have a massive audience of clients because you're online and you don't need them to travel to you. So it doesn't matter where you are. And you can offer a service. I particularly offer through that program a color personality experience. So it's you help your client discover her color personality, which tells you where she is. You use your existing color analysis knowledge to work out her physical coloring. And you learn how to do that without drapes or wallets, swatches, or any tools at all. And then you can use that in your offline, your face-to-face meetings as well. And you can deliver a high-end service to anybody, anywhere in the world. What do you offer to your clients? Do you offer a program like the Ultimate Training Program? The one big program for a great saving. So you will save £2,500 if you order all the programs in one package. But you can also buy them individually. So you can buy them when you're ready. So I offer modular training. Do you do that for your clients? Do you offer color analysis on its own, ladies' style on its own, wardrobe on its own? And then do you offer a package where they can buy all three together for a much better price? This is making it easy for your client to work with you. With the Ultimate Training Program, I also offer a second option. And you can add on, if you want to, personal mentoring with me, which breaks down into 6 calls, where I will help you create a business that leaves everyone else behind. So I can take you from beginner to expert with a full diary much quicker than if you try and do it yourself, because I will be working with you bespoke on 6 calls that you can take at any time. Now, normally I charge £500 per call. That's £3,000 worth. And you just add an extra £1,000 onto the Ultimate Training Program, and you can pay over 11 months. So you can split the payments, which you can't do if you book me just for mentoring. I don't take £200 here and £200 there. You pay for mentoring with me up front. But with the Ultimate Training Program, you add £1,000 on to get £3,000 more value, and you get me to hold your hand, take you through what you need to learn, take you through how to put a business plan together, take you through how to get from here to here over the period of time that suits you. Are you doing that for your client? Can you offer her a different way of working with you? So yes, right now, the Ultimate Image Consultant Training Program is available to pay over 11 months, or you can save 10% when you pay in full, so it's even better. So how easy are you making it for people to work with you? Do they have to come to you? What if lockdown means that they can't come to you or that you can't see them? You need to offer a variety of ways for people to work with you. Colour Your Client Online does exactly that. It shows you how to use the simplest technology on the planet to take bookings, how to take payments, and how to price and promote your consultations, and how to put them together. It's absolutely brilliant. And everything you learn in that program, you can then use with your offline clients. So from then on, you can offer 2 ways for people to work with you. How easy are you making it for people to work with you? Which brings me to, how easy is it for clients to book with you? So what do you do? Do they have to telephone you? Do they have to send you a check? How do you take the money? What do you do? Take buttons? Can they book online? Now, before you start rushing into creating an online booking service, which we talk about in Colour Your Client Online, I urge you to think about what kind of clients, what type of clients, what level of clients are you looking to work with? So if it's a relatively low cost service, if you're not charging a lot of money, then you'll probably be happy for them to book online, take their money, no matter who they are, so that, yes, go and set up an online booking service. If you're offering a high cost, high value service, maybe it's more bespoke, as we were just talking about, where there's some personal Zoom calls or personal meetings, and it's a higher value client that you're talking to, then I suggest you set up an application process. I have learned over the years to my cost, when I've let just anybody in, especially with a red personality, it has not turned out all that well for me. I've had to grit my teeth, and I've ended up being nice rather than kind, because to be kind has meant I've had to take into account who they are, add the perspective, not be worried by their behavior, etc. And I have to say, in the past, I haven't done that. I'm learning now. So, how do you take payments? Can they pay online? If you use something like an online scheduler, I use, what do I use? Acuity. There's loads of pieces of software out there. I use Acuity. So when people want to book a call with me, so when my mentoring clients want to book a call, or those who've bought the ultimate training program want to book a call, they just click a link, takes them through to my online scheduler, and they choose a time that I have already said I'm available. For those people who want to book personal mentoring outside of the Ultimate Image Program, they can not only book, but pay online as well. You could do the same. Are you making it easy for your client, or are you both sitting on the phone or sending thousands of emails to each other going, well, I'm free on Thursday. Oh, well, I'm not free on Thursday. I could do Friday. No, I can't do Friday. Just use an online scheduler. It is so much easier, so much more professional. And can they pay online? Neil explains, Neil is my other half. He's the technical expert. He wrote the module in Colour Your Client Online, all about the techie stuff. It's all in there. He explains exactly how to use Acuity or similar and take online payments. Something else we do, and we did this in March last year when COVID first struck, we changed all our payment plans to be interest-free. Do you offer payment plans? Now, if it's personal mentoring, and that's outside of the Ultimate Image Program, it's payment up front with me. That's the way I work because I'm working with higher level people and there's no question about it. It's just, how do I pay? Higher quality clients, you get less problems. But for the Ultimate Image Program, for instance, I think I've got some figures somewhere, have I? We take one payment of £747, followed by 10 payments of £225. Or instead of paying that comes to a total of 2,997 Great British pounds. If you want to pay in full, we'll take a payment of 2,697. So you're saving 10% by paying in full. So that's what we do. We've added an 11 pay to everything we offer, and that goes for all our training programs. So we're making it easy for our clients to book with us, to get involved. What can you do? How can you make it easier for your clients to book with you? So think about this way. So I'm using the Ultimate Training Program as an example. Maybe you could explain 3 biggest reasons why people should book your, whatever it is your program is, or your services. So the 3 biggest reasons why you should get the Ultimate Program, for instance, is you get huge savings on the training itself. You can buy them all separately and they'll cost you £5,500, or you can buy them in one fell swoop and pay £3,000. So you're saving £2,500. And you can pay over 11 months. And there are 2 options. You can then add on personal mentoring with me. Normally, that would cost you another £3,000. But when you do it this way, it will only cost you an extra £1,000, and you can pay for it over 11 months. What do you think? So are you explaining to your clients how they can get you, how they can get what they want from you? How can they easily work with you? Can you offer them huge savings? Can you offer them a payment plan? Can you offer them direct access to you so that they can work with you personally? I am. What could you offer your clients? How can you make it easy for them to book with you? That is really being kind. You're going to have to do some work. You're going to have to put yourself out there. You're going to have to set up an online scheduler. You're going to have to set up a payment provider. Yes, you're going to have to put all these things in place, but it makes it easier for your client to book with you. It's being kind to the client, and you will reap the rewards, because when you make it easy for clients to book with you, then they book with you. It's very simple. It is amazing. So in the when we launched Clear Client Online, we added a bonus strategy session. That was how to look at the practicalities, delving deeper into what you really want, both now and when lockdown ends, so that you can create a plan of action to achieve your dreams and aspirations with ease and grace. It's designed to help you prepare now for taking your colour business online. And if you go to the website for Clear Client Online, we have a testimonial on there saying that it was worth the price for the bonus strategy alone. What can you offer? That bonus strategy is now in. It's an integral part of Clear Client Online. So you get that anyway. What can you offer your clients to make it easier for them to say, yes, this is a no-brainer. I have to work with whatever your name is. So we've talked about why being nice isn't enough. Being nice is, well, let me give you this explanation. The nice person is externally motivated. So they're driven by the need for other people's approval and validation, craving acceptance and fearful of rejection. So this is where you won't do anything because you might get rejected. The other person might not say thank you. You're looking for approval all the time and validation. The kind person is internally motivated. You're not looking for approval. You're not bothered what people think. You're more interested in doing the right thing. So your compassion comes from an overflowing of your own positive self-regard, your own self-esteem, if you like, and not from the need to please. You are being kind to your clients because you know it's the right thing to do. It's like Cinderella said, with kindness comes goodness. And when there's goodness, there's magic. And the magic is the reward that you will get for being kind, putting yourself out there, offering your clients a way to work with you that's easy. And then when they do, allowing them to consult you and allowing them the space, the time, the opportunity, the courtesy and respect of, let's discuss this. Let's find out what you really want, and then let me help you. I encourage you to be kind. Be kind. What are you doing for your clients? Are you going that extra mile? Are you being kind, or are you just being nice? I encourage you to think about it, because this is changing my life and my business. Absolutely. And kindness is our word for 2021. We decided this over the Christmas holiday. while we're watching Disney movies, Pixar movies, while we're watching the lovely stuff that makes you go all gooey. Kindness. Everywhere we're hearing this word. Let's be kind, because when you're kind in business, when you use these steps to be kind to your clients, it naturally overflows into the rest of your life. And you start being kind to your loved ones, to your not so loved ones, to your friends, to people who've upset you. And the ripple effect is raising the consciousness of this planet. We have to do that. We simply have to make this world a better place to be, a kinder place to be, by being kind ourselves. And then you'll be kind to your clients, your family, your friends, and they will start being kind to their family, friends, clients, colleagues.